Ready? We're live?
Welcome to the THC show, everybody.
Started playing some drastically hip, and I was like, yeah, I gotta start my video now.
You have the right to do or not do whatever you want to do or don't want to do without any government coercion or prohibition until you interfere with somebody else. If you don't stand up for it, they'll continue to take it away from us. Your children will be a lot less free than we are, and we'll be a lot less free. Thing to go. I was kind of keeping my eye on it, you know. All right.
Welcome to the THC show, everybody.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the THC show. My name is Glenn Wells, and this is where, with the truth about cannabis, we hope to affect change. How you doing today? Oh, it's a great day. It's really warm out here today. I'm on the West Coast. I'm actually sitting outside. You just don't see it because I have a screen thing behind me, virtual reality stuff, that kind of stuff. So it is warm. I wish I could do this show without my shirt on today. But there is an occasional breeze coming out, so that does help a lot. So today we have Terry as our guest. And Terry is the maker of the 210 watch, and you'll soon find out what the 210 watch is when he comes on. So he is the founder of the MCRCI, the Medical Cannabis Resource Center, in 2007. He has been a medical advocate and supporter in the industry for many years. He's also an international speaker who's traveled all over the world, educating physicians and governments on the use of medical cannabis. So Terry will be on around 4:19, and Terry being, I'll make the announcements afterwards. Something exciting is happening, and you're going to want to stick around until we bring on Terry. And hello, Bracy, until we bring on Terry, and we'll announce everything that's happening. So also, this is show 297, the 297th show of the THC show here on Cannabis Culture, and thank you very much to Cannabis Culture for allowing us to do that. We're on Rumble and YouTube on my page, 8 out of 10 Glenn. We do get uploaded to Hey Gather. We do get uploaded to Pod TV eventually when Jeremiah has some time. So that's what's going on. What was I going to tell? Oh, yeah, all right. So I got some announcements to make. Might as well do announcements right now. Well, should I do announcements now or should I do them later? I do have a video, and I know what I got to do. I got to announce our new sponsor for the 420 time slot. It is Sweetgrass. Now, you remember Gemma, she was on the show a few weeks ago from Sweetgrass. So they have agreed to sponsor the show. So I have something to smoke today, and that is called Fiestas. And that is from Sweetgrass. And 420 Nicholas from Mexico. Hey, you doing, Nathan? How you doing? We will put up a link later on, and we got some video from them and stuff like that. So they are a government legal supplier of cannabis, so you can order from their site with a prescription, or you just find their stuff in your local store. So thank you very much to Sweetgrass for joining us. It makes a lot, and now I'm smoking a little bit of legal weed. And mind you, I waked and baked with that stuff today, and man, it hit me good. It's got a really nice taste. So, but we'll talk about that at 4:20. So, hey, Dave, how you doing from New Jersey? How you doing, New Jersey? British Columbia, Canada, West Coast. Here we are. So, Okay, so we're gonna do some of the Braving Healing stuff. You all know that I am part of this documentary called Braving Healing, and it is about childhood sexual abuse. I am a survivor of that. I'm an activist of that. I'm also an activist for cannabis, obviously. So we're going to do this one. This one is called Why You Feel Overwhelmed. And when you have PTSD from this, you feel overwhelmed a lot. And it could be just the smallest thing, and you just take a deep breath and go, wow, why do I feel so overwhelmed? So this is an explanation of why you might feel overwhelmed if you are a survivor of the childhood sexual abuse. All right, here we go. And this is how to fix it.
If you ever wondered why you feel so much, why everyday things can leave you exhausted, shut down, or on edge, you're not broken. This is what trauma looks like when it doesn't have anywhere to go. In this video, you'll hear from Amelia, a psychotherapist who works with survivors of child sex abuse. She breaks down how trauma impacts us, not just emotionally, but in our relationships, our bodies, our beliefs, and how we show up in the world. If you've ever felt like something's wrong with you, or you're too much, or not enough, this may help things start to make sense.
We can, if we break it up, we can look at it in different kind of categories of symptoms. So one of them, it's going to be changes in emotions. A lot of the time, survivors will experience more shame, guilt, the sense of responsibility. So when we look at the emotions, the more common emotions that we'll experience are the lower energy ones. So things like sadness, hopelessness. And what we notice is that actually there's a lot of anger. And there can also be aggression that's related to hypervigilance and your nervous system being jacked up, which is very uncommon from what we're kind of taught to believe, or what like the typical image of somebody who's been traumatized is. Then we also have changes in our beliefs, our thoughts. And so those are often things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, I can't trust other people, the world is an unpredictable place, there's something wrong with me. If people knew that this happened, they wouldn't want to be around me. I'm somehow responsible. I should have stopped it, that kind of thing. It's usually the, if this had not happened, or if I had done this, then this. Or there's a lot of shoulds that come up. Usually if it's a should, it's probably not actually something you should have done. So changes in our thinking.
I know that one hits hard. The voice inside your head that says, if people knew what happened to me, they wouldn't love me. You're not alone in that. It's just something your brain learned to say to try to survive.
Then we can look at changes in our behavior. So usually it's avoiding certain situations. We're trying to protect ourselves. And we might notice more aggression, more substance use, which is a way of trying to cope with the difficulties that we're experiencing. And it's hard for us to connect with other people. It's hard for us to trust. It could be hard to have intimate relationships. We might also teeter-totter from, if we look at intimacy or sex, we might go from hyposexuality, which is almost like having no interest in it, not wanting to connect with that aspect of ourselves at all, to hypersexuality, which is being almost like preoccupied with thoughts of having sex and just your sexual self, which often leads to problems. And then somewhere in the middle is the healthy aspect, which we want to get to.
Let's pause here for a second, because this part can be confusing, even shame-inducing. If you're struggling with intimacy, whether you wanted nothing to do with sex, or maybe that's all you can think about, both of those reactions make sense. There's no one right way that trauma shows up. Your story is valid, no matter what it looks like.
And so all of those experiences will, and then we have our physiological changes. So that's where we have our physical symptoms of, we might notice a lot of headaches, we might notice chronic pain, you might notice pain with intercourse, a lot of pelvic issues will come around. And then we've got also hypervigilance and hyperarousal. And so that's how jacked up your nervous system is. And when you've experienced trauma, and you were in that fight, flight, freeze, fawn response, your survival instinct kicked in, but you never had a chance to really properly process it, it might keep coming up. And so you're going to notice that you're more on guard. You're more easily startled. You're at that point a bit more aggressive, because when you're up here, the things that are everyday kind of inconveniences for some people, that you're responding from a baseline, but if you've been traumatized, you're responding from up here. And so you've got if you think about kind of like the spectrum of emotions, down here we've got baseline, and up here we've got overwhelmed. And this is kind of where we live every single day of our lives when we're not traumatized. So when something happens that's not a big deal, it might trigger us like to here, right? Gets like halfway through that curve. If you're traumatized and you haven't processed, you're kind of stuck at this more hypervigilant state. You're kind of up here. And so your emotions are going to be more intense. So something that was an everyday inconvenience for somebody, not a big deal, they're going to respond from a nice baseline feeling calm. You're going to be responding from an activated state. And so you're a lot closer to that peak of emotion. And so that's where feeling aggressive, that's where having an overwhelming response might kick in.
If you saw yourself in any part of this, you're not alone. This isn't about checking symptoms off a list. It's about realizing why certain things have felt so hard for so long. If this helped you name something or even feel a little less alone, drop a comment or share it with someone who's been trying to make sense of their own story. And if you want more content that honors the truth about trauma without shame, subscribe. We're here walking in it with you. You are Braving Healing.
And we're back. Yeah, that feeling was so much of my life before I had the 18 years of psychiatric help. I figured nobody wanted to have me in their life because I was damaged property. I talked about it. I felt damaged. It took a long time to get past that feeling. So that was very, very helpful for me and stuff like that. Like I said, I am part of that documentary. We have a whole hour film coming out. Should be out probably this month. We will be showcasing it on the show here and stuff like that. So yeah, and that lady was one of the ladies that interviewed me for the documentary. That her name is Kat. So thank you very much, Kat. She is also a survivor. So reach out to Braving Healing on YouTube if you want to talk about things, or if you need to talk about it, if you feel like now is the time to talk about it, because you should, and it'll help you. Like I said, it's not a quick journey. It took me 18 years, but once you're done, you'll feel much better. And I still have a little bit of PTSD some days with certain things, but it's much better. Life is much better right now. So I hope that you guys could get a chance to do that if you need to reach out. All right, so we got about 7 minutes left. I've got some videos here that I want to play. All right, so we've got a little bit. Okay, so about 14, I figure. Okay, well, let's just do this. All right, this is from our new sponsor, Sweetgrass. All right. So there's a link for Sweetgrass. If you have a prescription from your doctor, then you can reach out to Sweetgrass right there. I just put the link in the comments. And like I said, if you don't have, then you can probably just find them in your government store. I'm not going to say probably. You will find them in the government store. So check them out. They are definitely worth the checkout. So I'm going to do a little video that I did today. I'm going to share it with you guys. So it's me rolling for the show today. So let's do this. And this is how an 8-fingered man rolls a joint. Here we go. Nice and sticky. Let's do it this way. There we go. I think I need to chop it up a little bit more. And this is how an 8-fingered man rolls a joint. That's why they call me 8 out of 10 Glenn. Because of these. Half a finger and half a finger. Alright. See if we can get this done here. What did I do with the scooper? Oh man. We'll just have to do it this way. Here we go. 1 Fiestas by Sweetgrass. Rolled and ready to smoke. There we go. I didn't know that it does that automatically. I just learned something new about StreamYard. So yeah, that's what we're smoking today. It's called Fiestas. It's from Sweetgrass. And here it is right here. Here's that joint. Now, our guest, Terry, is supposed to be here. And while that video was playing, I did message him and asked if he was still coming. So I don't know where our guest is. This could be a problem because if we don't have a guest, that's like a half an hour of the show. Happy 420, everybody. It's 420. So, okay, I'm just going to go ahead without our guest and explain to you certain things. What 210 watch is this. This is your 210 watch right here. And what the 210 watch does is this. You see that? There you go. It lights your joint for you. You never have to worry about being in a windy spot, not having a lighter. I got to light it a little bit more. But here you go. There you go. The 210 watch. It actually works as a watch, and you never have to need a battery for it because it's a USB, right, that goes in right there. So, yeah, check out. Oh, there we go. He made it. All right. Hey, our guest is here. Better late than never, right? Let me bring in Terry. I already showed them about the 210 watch. Tell me whether I'm just going to say this Fiesta has a really unique taste to it. You want to check this out in your stars. Man, I've been smoking this all day. I really like this one. And I'm surprised because I'm usually a gray market person. So. All right, let's bring in Terry. Let's see how he's doing today.
All right.
Good afternoon, Terry. How you doing, my friend?
Pretty good. Pretty good. How are you doing?
All right. How you doing? Well, we just lit the joint with this watch. So
Nice.
it did show up yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great.
That's good. Yes. And I guess we could tell the people that we're going to be doing a couple of giveaways.
Yes. Love to give away a 210 timepiece to help people celebrate the new cultural time we're trying to attach to Canada.
Yeah, that'd be great. 210 all across Canada, right? Eastern,
Yep, exactly.
Central. Oh, nice. All right. So, okay, we're not going to do it this week, but let's do it like this is show 297. Would you be able to agree to do two watches for show 298 and 299?
Sure.
And then on the 300 show, I've invited you to come to the studio, and if you can and stuff like that, and hang out with us.
Yeah, nice. That'd be great. Love to.
All right, so you just heard that, everybody. I do have permission from Jeremiah Vandermeer to be able to do this. So thank you very much to Jeremiah and Cannabis Culture for allowing us to do this. So next week, make sure you tune in, and you may just have a chance of winning one of these 210 watches. I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to do a number thing or if I'm going to do a question thing. I got a whole week to figure it out. So. All right, so there's lots of comments here today. The packs I just ordered from Kurt. Oh, there. I got to get rid of this. No, there's always somebody who wants to sell cannabis on a cannabis show.
For sure.
Can't do that. We sell cannabis from Sweetgrass here. All right. So if you have any questions for Terry, you can do. Tell us about this MCRCI that you were doing.
Okay. Well, originally started back in was it 2007, working with John Conroy. We had found that there was a number, and this is the Matt Murnaugh case and all the situations that we're working with medicinal cannabis, people could not get their doctors to support them. So John Connor and I joined forces with one of his old-time friends who was a doctor who was getting ready to retire. And so he didn't have an issue with the colleges coming after him. So we decided then to start up a clinic. So MCR, the Medicinal Cannabis Resource Center, was the clinic that we started, and we started to support patients that needed support for medical access and for growing licenses. And so that's how it kind of started back in 2007. We were the only guys in town around that time, and certainly had a lot of pressure from the police would come into our clinic, the fire department would come into our clinic looking to see if we were meeting regulations, and they thought we were just using this as a front to sell weed.
Yeah.
Whereas in fact, we were, no weed here, but it was all being dealt with the, through the LPs and everything at that point. So we started up dealing with people, and I think, we saw thousands and thousands of people before it became legal.
Yeah.
So what happened when it became legal, most of the LPs and people gravitated towards the legal side of things, and the medical was forgotten for the most part.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate that was happening, but we still stayed in business. We still are in business under a different name now. The medicalcannabisprime.ca is the website that someone would go to get that kind of support. And we're still supporting patients now, even to this day. A lot of other doctors have fallen away. More of the LPs are coming online now, and there's several companies out there that are doing mail order systems for medical patients. So if you had a medical license, you can go to see someone like a Mendo or a Harvest Express or someone like that, and they would be able to. Pardon me?
Sweetgrass does the same thing.
Sweetgrass does the same thing.
If you have a prescription, you can reach out to them on their link here in the comments, and they'll set you right up.
Exactly. So that's the type of thing. So if you were licensed through us, so you could go to Sweetgrass with that license and you could buy product directly from them. Now, there's benefits to being a medical patient. One being you can write off $2,500 worth of the product you buy and any medical devices, being a bong or a volcano or something, and that can be written off against your taxes.
Rolling papers too.
Anything that you'd be using to use your medicine, you would file and you could write that off at the end of the year. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is,
what section of the taxes do you do that in? Is there like you go to the medical section where you put your prescription?
you go to your medical. Yeah, you go to your medical section and you can, you could write off a PAP machine. You could write off, a CPAP machine or different things like that. But your blood pressure, if you had high blood pressure, you could write off your blood pressure medicine.
Wow.
And your machine. So, for cannabis, that is a great benefit. Plus, there are half a dozen different insurers out there, Sun Life, Blue Cross, to name a few, which will, if you have their insurance, you can get your cannabis paid for. Or if you are a veteran, you can have them pay you up to $500 a month. They will pay for your cannabis as well. So being a medical patient still has some financial benefits over and above. Some of the LPs don't even charge you the tax on it. And there is a lobbyist group working to create an excise exemption for the medical side of things. So it still is valuable to be a medical patient over and above being
would that be fair cannabis that Jeremiah, Jody, and everybody are running right now? They're trying to make the legal system a little bit more fair and stuff like that with all the taxation and stuff.
Yeah, well, that's the taxation on the rec side. It's the medical side, because if you buy any kind of pharmaceutical drug, you're not getting taxed on your pharmaceutical drugs or anything that is a medical product. And that's where the discrepancy lies between the legal and the medical market, is they're still charging taxes. A lot of LPs will write that off and not charge you the tax. And sometimes they will charge you less dollars than you would for a recreational product for the medical people. So this way they're trying to alleviate, they'll either drop the price enough so the taxes aren't too impactful, and they will go from that area. So, those things are still being supported by some of the LPs. And it's just up to you to find out which ones may work with you if you're an individual patient.
And the insurance companies, this has to be private insurance. This is nothing that the government gives you or anything, because I have extra insurance, but that doesn't cover that part of it, right?
No, it's specific ones will cover. And usually, the interesting part is they'll only cover it if you're part of the employee package through a company.
Oh, really? So you can't just have PWD status and get coverage through them?
Not automatically. If you you talk to them and you say, okay, I'm not part of a company, I'm getting my own coverage, will you cover it? And sometimes it's a person-to-person basis, depending on what happens, but written in the books, it's not automatic. But it is automatic through your group insurance.
Okay, so that you said Sun Life and Blue Cross, that's something.
There's several others. I can get you the rest of the information if people are interested enough. I can dig up that information. I'll tell you some of the other current ones. They change.
Yeah, I was about to say that they could reach out to you at your website and talk to you, and you would be able to help them through there.
Yeah, sure can.
Oh, that's good. That's great. Mm-hmm. And that website again
is medicalcannabisprime.ca.
All right, let's see if I can find that right now, and I can throw it up there. Medical cannabis prime.
Yep.
.ca. Let's see. All right. Oh yeah, I got it. All right, copy this, and we'll throw it in the comments here for people if they want to reach out to you. There we go. There's the link to Terry's site for you. There you go.
Right on. Thank you.
That worked. I did it. Sometimes I know. Mess things up when you're live, right?
Older guys aren't that technologically advanced in some cases, so that's good job, Glenn.
All right. So also, you've been doing some cannabis talks all around the world, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. More in the heyday of the medical side of it. Once it became legal, some of that dropped off. But yeah, we were brought down to Australia to talk to over 300 doctors about cannabis and its benefits. Italy, Berlin, the first time when the IC, now it's fairly well known over there because this was quite a few years ago. We went to Berlin, and now ICBC and Mary Jane all have large festivals there, which people can get more information. But at the time, we had a talk and deal with the doctors there, as well as Thailand. Now, back when I went to Thailand, it was totally illegal. They chop your hand off if you had cannabis. Now it's kind of the Wild West over in Thailand. Even the food vendors, you can buy weed off the food vendors over there. So it has changed quite dramatically. And I think they're trying to pull back in Thailand because it got so unruly and so out of control. My understanding is, they're trying to pull back and not make it as accessible as it currently is over there.
Okay, and it's not government run; it's private run there, I believe, right?
Yes, I believe so.
We did an interview from a gentleman who was skateboarding in Thailand that was using cannabis. Yes, and he had a cannabis shop that was right behind him, and he was telling us. One of our friends, one of my friends, Michelle Sikora. I don't know if you know that name. Says from a tax accountant site. To be clear, you can only claim the amount for medical, fresh, or dried cannabis, cannabis oils, and cannabis seeds and plants, recreational cannabis, and costs related to growing or accessories such as lighters, containers, and other storage, fertilizer, vaporizer, pipes, capsules, or capsule fillers cannot be claimed.
Okay, there you go.
And she's pretty good at her taxes. She's a smart lady, so
that's good.
So only it seems that only your fresh and dried cannabis and cannabis oils and seeds and plants, but anything else.
Yeah, we have had people write off some of their machines. So like the Volcano, we have had people do that. Now they may have written it off, and it may have gotten through because they're not looking at it closely. That might have been one of the cases. But for the medical devices, for medical programs, you can write a lot of those things off, and that's why a lot of people did write those off and have been able to get the tax deduction for that.
I just had a funny thought. I wonder if I can get the PWD's people to buy myself a Volcano. you call that welfare number, and they got a medical push number 2 if you need a medical device. So I could call them and say, I need a
Nice.
That'd be great. Thank you for that information, Michelle. That's great. So when you were talking around the world, what were you mostly talking about? How are you educating the doctors on how to prescribe it, or just your general knowledge? What were you doing?
Mostly it was about the benefits of cannabis, the different types of cannabis, what the difference were between, CBD, THC, those sort of things. It was quite a, interesting process because there'd be a lot of questions from the physicians afterwards. But a lot of it was just really educating them on what cannabis is, how it was derived, some of, the endocannabinoid system, how that works. How it was discovered back in, 100 years ago, they discovered the endocannabinoid system, but they did not discover the the CB1 and the CB2 receptors, which are cannabis receptors that are in the body. That was discovered in 1990, CB1, and 1993, CB2. That connected why the benefits of cannabis were so profound in the human body, because we actually are designed to use cannabinoids. Your endocannabinoid system actually releases a cannabinoid type substance into your body to deal with all of the effects you're having on your body and all the functions of your body. So whether it comes to pain relief, skin issues, sleep, anxiety, depression, the endocannabinoid system releases that to help your body deal with that. So if your body's not releasing enough of those cannabinoids, this is where an outside source of cannabinoid through weed or edibles or anything will now be accepted by the receptors, supercharged, and then blasted to your body to help deal with the effects that you're dealing with or the symptoms you're dealing with. And this is why a lot of veterans use cannabis, because cannabis really depresses the dreams that you're having. So when they're having nightmares and dreams, this depresses it so that they can actually have better sleeps. Now, that works very, very well to deal with symptoms, but it doesn't really doesn't deal with the underlying cause of what that could be. And this is why when mushrooms kind of had their, and psychedelics came onto the scene, a little while ago, several years ago. That was very profound because that is something that veterans are able to use through a deep dive or some kind of a treatment with a specialist. Ketamine is where they're going to a lot now, and that will actually deal with the functions, so they don't have to use as much cannabis to deal with the symptoms, as they move ahead in those sort of progress that they're making.
Does the ketamine help create new neural pathways as the mushrooms do?
Not
I know that helps with the PTSD for the
major,
veteran, right?
yeah,
Creating
not in the same way. Yeah, mushrooms have a very unique ability to create new neural pathways, whereas ketamine helps you get into the deeper recesses of what you're trying to deal with, and helps, and that's for chronic pain as well. A lot of people would go to the hospital for chronic pain, and they would put them ketamine drip, and that would help them deal with the long-term pain. So it does help in those regards, help you deal with PTSD, but it's not in the same way that mushrooms do when they're recreating those new neural pathways. Now that's what's valuable. For instance, we would use that a lot for people with smoking cessation. They want to stop smoking. So they would do a deep dive with that, or they would just do daily micro doses on it. But that takes away the urge for them to smoke. So if they've had an experience, they stop smoking, they don't have that desire. It works the same way with alcohol. And in fact, I had that experience inadvertently doing a 60-day scenario with mushrooms microdosing. And I remember going out to watch a football game. I was doing that. Everyone was drinking, having a few beers in this. I had a couple beers. It did not affect me whatsoever. And I ended up going home early because I felt good and everything was over, rather than sitting around because there was no desire to drink. And so the same thing with cigarettes. It really dulls that desire. So it's been very helpful in those events as well. Whereas cannabis, doesn't really deal with some of the deep scenarios. It deals more of the symptoms that you're dealing with. If you're in depression or anxiety, it can help you through those paths, but it doesn't really go down to the underlying cause where you would want to go for some deeper therapy if that's something that you wanted to do.
Yeah, and when you were talking about the endocannabinoid system, I just recently watched a TED Talk where they said that healthy people don't really need cannabis because their endocannabinoid system is working properly. But people like me who have been through PTSD, childhood sexual abuse, any trauma and stuff like that, or anything in our childhood, our endocannabinoid systems definitely need cannabis. Do you agree with that?
And I agree with that. That'll supercharge. And it's kind of, cannabis is very intuitive in regards to what you're feeling. So, if you're feeling depressed, cannabis can actually make you feel more depressed if your mindset isn't in the proper mode. So, and it's very interactive in that way. So, when it comes to going down and dealing with PTSD and things like that, it can calm you down and it can help you. But, maybe a deep dive with mushrooms to deal with what the original source of that PTSD would be, a helpful additive to something that would be dealing just with the symptoms as well.
Yeah, I had a friend on here, Corey. I can't remember the last name. It starts with a B. It's very long, but he helped me with that. We were doing I was doing macro doses, wasn't doing micro. I would only do a gram at a time, but he would have me think about the thought that was reoccurring in my brains, and trained me to think another way. So when that thought comes there, I don't go to that spot anymore. I go to the new spot, right? So
He's talking about intention. Intention is very, very valuable, because if you don't, it's like you're going on a journey, a trip. If you don't have a destination, you can wander all over the place. Even though you're traveling and you're feeling good on there, you haven't reached your ultimate goal. And that's what intention does. And it helps build, when you're rebuilding that new neural pathway, it's helping have that intention built into it. Whereas when you're trying to quit smoking without that sort of scenario, you've got to quit smoking. You've got to now learn a new path while your neural pathway is still hungering for nicotine. And that makes it a lot more difficult to kick the habit and to stay on it. Whereas if you create a whole new neural pathway with those intentions in mind, it's much quicker benefits and much longer lasting benefits when you do it in that way. It works very well for people with migraines as well.
Oh, really? Eh? My mom
Oh, yeah.
should. My mom deals with migraines, but she's 80. She never smoked cannabis.
No, no, I'm talking about mushrooms for
Oh,
cannabis.
mushrooms. Oh, really? Really? Yeah.
Mushrooms work very, very well for microdosing. Or you do one deep dive, you may not get any, and specifically cluster headaches is what it works really, really effectively on.
Well, I should try. Yeah, I doubt it. She'll do that, but we never know. I could talk to her about it.
You,
I stopped smoking with a bag of Bob. I had an ounce at the bottom of the bag. Every time I wanted to have a cigarette, I would smoke a joint instead. And then I
right.
was one of those people who wanted to smoke a cigarette after a joint, so I would smoke another joint. After that, I didn't want to smoke anything. So after a month of doing that, I was able to quit. I'm 25, 26 years now. I'm no smoking of cigarettes. So.
Right. Yeah. So basically, what you did on your own mind is you changed your intention to your direction and mindset to a different thing to
Yeah.
offset the cravings. So, yeah, good job.
Yeah, I replaced the action, right? Even though it wasn't nicotine, my brain was still going, "Hey, this is what we're supposed to be doing right now, right?" So that's what I was trying
The tactile thing of holding the cigarette and putting it on your lips and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of putting food in here, I was putting a joint in there, right? And putting food in my mouth and gaining a lot of weight. Somebody, Wendy says, "I've heard a lot of good stories of mushrooms helping for migraines." Yeah, do you have a good story?
Pardon me. Do I have a good story?
Yeah. Do you
Oh,
know
yeah.
anybody? Yeah.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
well,
I know quite a few people that have used this to stop their migraines. There was one specific woman I knew. She was getting major cluster headaches. She went and had a deep dive and didn't have another incident for about 3 months later. Then she started to do the microdosing just for some other things as well as that, and has been able to alleviate, the majority of any kind of attacks she has.
Just with the microdosing. And when you mean deep dive, are they doing a macro dose? Is that what you're
That would be
saying?
a macro, and that would be a macro dose where they're, in a nice quiet room. You've got a guide taking you through it. I mean, people that are experienced can do that sort of thing on their own.
Yeah.
But someone that's not that experienced, it's really good to have a guide that can lead you through it. They can talk you through it if you've got any anxiety or any issues. Because again, mushrooms, it's the same thing. You can have a bad trip if you're thinking bad thoughts.
Yes.
And if you're thinking in a positive manner, then it helps direct you into that way as well.
Yeah, but the very first time I did acid, the lady told me, "Don't follow the pink dragons, just follow the pink or the purple elephants, and you'll be fine." Right? Yeah, I always have that mindset of things just to make it a lot better. I was going to ask you a question about the headaches and stuff. Oh, I forgot now. Damn cannabis. All right, so it's 4:44. Usually I say hi to Neil. 3 4s mean that there's an angel on your shoulder. So hi,
Right.
buddy. We miss you.
Neil.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Neil was very supportive in the stuff that we were doing on the medical side of it, between Neil and Jody and, a lot of the people that were on the legal side or the legacy side, all were very supportive of the medical, because obviously a lot of people used it for medical reasons and didn't have the, wherewithal to get information about it. And, it was funny because we had did this for many years and there was still such a lack of information. And we were doing a lot of TV interviews, radio interviews, magazine interviews, because people needed that kind of information. And even though we'd been in business for 7 or 8 years, there was still a complete lack of that information. Now it seems as though a lot of the LPs are trying to get back into that for a couple of reasons. If they have a database of patients, they don't necessarily have to sell all of their product to the government at a lower price. They can actually sell directly to it, and that allows them to put out some lower prices to those customers. If they're making the full retail end on it, then they can actually afford to give it cheaper, and that's where some of the companies that focus on medical are coming back to it, can give the patients a better price than they would from a recreational store.
So basically, you're saying the rec people can help out the medical people by paying full price, and then those companies can give it out to a little bit cheaper to the people who are on disability, like myself.
Exactly. Yeah, they can mitigate some of those costs, the taxes, and the overall cost of it, because they don't have to. They're making more profit in that manner than they are just selling at wholesale to the government. Allows them some flexibility to work with the patients.
That's good. That's very nice because usually insurance companies or companies don't want to, they want to make the money all the time, right? Right there, there is.
Yeah, they understand though if they have a database of patients and things slow down for some reason in the general market, they still have a direct contact to patients, which they can still sell product to and keep their cash flow going. I mean, it's not an easy game here for either rec stores or for LPs these days. The heyday in the beginning, when everyone was making all kinds of money because there was very few of them around, has changed. So it's it's a business now. It's not the same culture where people are jumping on board and just supporting it because of the culture. People are now looking around trying to get better deals, and they're looking out for themselves. So the LPs now have to build some kind of a loyalty base. Excuse me, and that's through the medical market. They'll have a base of loyal followers.
Yeah. Wow. And well, I guess it's good to have that base, like you said, because in case things slow down, right?
Mm-hmm. And some of them still want to help the medical patients. They recognize that is an area of need that is not about just making money. It's about helping people get better and deal with the stress and the issues that they have. And that was the basis that John and I started the company way back in 2008, was to really help those patients that were either like Matt Murnaugh. I don't know if people remember the Murnaugh case, but that was instrumental in turning things around. He got busted. His doctor recommended it. They were going to put him in jail. They fought it. And this is one of the main reasons why the program came in place, because of that. But a lot of people didn't realize that cannabis helped them in that way. And it was still even 10 years after that, so that was in 2000, even 2010. There was still a real lack of knowledge. And I think on the medical side now, there still is a lack of knowledge, but the desire for people to understand it has waned in the last 5 or 6 or 8 years.
Yeah, and like you were saying, how the recreational people help the medical people with these companies. It was kind of the medical people that fought the rights for the people to get these recreational rights. Like it was, we were out there doing the protests. We were doing the World Cannabis Day and stuff like that. So it's kind of maybe evening itself out a little bit, because we help them get recreational law, and now when they buy, they can help us out, I guess.
Well, we wouldn't be here in the legal market if it wasn't for the medical market, and that's worldwide as well.
Yeah,
most countries start off medical, then they'll roll into the recreational afterwards when they realize that it isn't the death weed. People aren't going to be going crazy. The impaired driving, all that kind of stuff is not as the fear mongering that they were doing in the beginning about that to making it legal. So that also, was one of the main reasons that Canada went totally recreational, is because they recognized through the medical program that it wasn't going to create this huge issue that the big problem that they'd been talking about.
Yeah, well, like I talk about it on the show here. If you're smoking cannabis, you don't want to go and drive. You want to stay on the couch. Whereas if you're drinking, your inhibitors are down and you just don't care. You think they can do anything, right? Anybody who's really high doesn't want to get off the couch and drive. They know better. They know that they can't drive, and that we don't do. I think that if there's ever going to be a death or an accident caused because of cannabis, it's probably because somebody dropped their joint into their lap and burned themselves and they jumped or something like that. It's probably going to be something like that, right?
Even as of today, there's been no verified issue where someone has died from using cannabis, whereas alcohol or other hard drugs, many physical things that happen. Now, that's not to say that someone's using cannabis hasn't died from some other reason, but not from the actual cannabis itself. Like you said, if they drop their joint, they're smoking a joint, they drop it and they bend down and they crash into someone. Well, that wasn't the joint that did it. It was they're driving. So there hasn't been a death attributed to cannabis even as of today.
Yeah, and that's amazing, eh? All these years, and it's such a bad thing for us,
People do have to watch out with cannabis, and some of that can be a psychosis. Now, there was just a recent article out, but we've known about that for a long time.
Oh, we lost Terry. He must have hit the button. I hope he comes back. It's like the 30 minutes is up and boom, he was gone. I didn't do that. I'm sure he's going to click the link and he'll come back. But yeah, this has been very, very informational information that he's been giving us. Very informational. The information that he's giving us has been really good. So I hope that he comes back. Maybe while we're doing that, I'm going to go and do the announcements. So let's do the first announcement. That's for here in Mission. The Cannabis Substitution Program Mission is having a community barbecue this weekend, August 17th from 11 till 2. There'll be dessert loaves, clothing, and hygiene supplies, and that's behind the shelter on Logan Avenue here in Mission. So if you know anybody that needs any help, check it out there. Like I don't know if you can see that. No, you probably can't. I'd have to figure it out. Anyways, but that is this August the 17th in 5 days. All right, and then the second announcement is the third annual Cannabis Substitution Project barbecue and giveaway. So they're having a big barbecue. You can go down there and buy yourself a hot dog or a hamburger. I see Terry coming back and then donate to them. And they've got some giveaways. That's going to be at 13601 Grosvenor Road, September the 6th from noon till 3 o'clock. If you want to support the Cannabis Substitution Surrey, then that's it. Let's bring Terry back. All right.
Here I am back.
You must have hit the button or something.
I don't know what happened there, but yeah, I was trying to get into the email. Then I realized, oh, this was all done through, the Instagram. So
yeah, it's all done through StreamYard.
StreamYard. Oh, okay, right.
This is StreamYard. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. So I was just saying, thank you very much for your information. That's been really, really great. Are you going to mail the watches, or do you want me to come and meet you?
I can mail them, but it'd be great if we got together and
yeah. Where are you?
I'm in Burnaby.
Okay, well, the girlfriend lives in Burnaby.
Yeah, and my office is right at Nanaimo and Hastings, so right by Eggs Canada there.
Okay, well, the girlfriend she lives in North Burnaby, so
yeah, I'm in North. I'm actually in North Burnaby where I live, so we can always connect there. So that's no problem.
All right. Well, I'm going to be seeing her tomorrow, so
okay. Well,
I'll reach out to you tomorrow, and maybe we'll both come and see you.
Sure. No, that sounds great. We need to come down to the office and check it out or whatever. Just the last thing that I was talking about was the psychosis of cannabis. That's very low percentage. It's, less than 1% of the population have that particular issue where cannabis would react in that manner. But I did have a personal friend that had smoked a lot of weed.
Yeah.
He ended up really having a psychosis, thought people were freaking out, were following him and all kinds of stuff. And that was definitely attributed to that. He no longer smokes because that was such a terrifying experience. But it was something that, he had some symptoms leading up to it that he didn't really look at. And he just one day was there. This was quite a few years ago, but one day he was just smoking like crazy. He was peering out the window and had this like psychotic episode. So it can happen. So everything is not always positive about things that are good. There's always negative things that can happen. So people do have to be aware of that as well. I always
say there's an opposite to everything, Terry.
That's right.
Right? There's an opposite to everything, man. There's not one thing that you can think of in this world that there's not an opposite to. So for all the people that cannabis benefits, there are going to be people that it doesn't benefit.
That's
so,
right. So
anxiety and stuff like that too, and when they smoke it. So it's sad. I don't know if they would have the same effect if they were doing edibles, or if it's just the smoking that's doing it. I don't know if you've had any experience with having people do that. If they couldn't smoke, were they able to do edibles?
We haven't had a situation where that's come through, but edibles could create, in fact, that could even create a higher degree of paranoia because because of the effect, and it's throughout your full body and you're getting a lot more effect. So if people start to get a little palpitating heartbeat because they're high from edibles, that could trigger them to start thinking negative thoughts, and it could go down that route. But so
just like you said, if you have somebody in the room and you have an event like this with cannabis, then somebody could walk you through it just like they could with mushrooms.
Exactly. Well, people have done people will do deep dives on cannabis, large doses of edibles. The green out effect is actually similar to like a peyote effect where you actually vomit and then you have this trip after. So people, and then interesting enough, for the first 10 years of this, I wasn't even really aware that people were doing those type of experiences. But at a psychedelic event, there was someone with cannabis that actually educated me on that. So you can go down there because, if you eat too much, you can hallucinate, you can hear things, you can have major issues where you can't even walk because your body is so rubbery. If you're laying down, you can actually have a good experience, a deep dive in that manner as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think if you're going to do edibles and it's your first time, you need to know that this could happen to you so that if it does happen, you can just breathe it out and be relaxed because this is what could happen and just know it's going to be over. And also, I've heard some CBD will just bring you right out of it too.
Well, exactly. That's what I was just going to say. If you not have any experience and you want to do a deep dive, make sure you have some large doses of CBD. And you can do that. You can use CBD and that will bring you down. In fact, if you take CBD before you eat, it will coat the receptors that allow you to get high. And that's why you won't even get as high if you're doing that.
Oh yeah, Wendy says edibles is the number one reason people go to the emergency room. Yes,
that's right.
Because they didn't go low and they didn't go slow. They just went, "Oh, here's 100 milligrams. I'm gonna try this.
Oh my
later. I'm not feeling anything. I'm gonna do another one." And then
exactly.
Later, they're feeling that 100 milligrams.
Yeah, you have to be, even experienced people run into problems. I had a situation where a friend of mine was making gummies.
Yeah.
He also was making the same size. He's making a 400 milligram block, which I don't understand why anyone would need something that high, but he made it. I guess people could cut it down, but he also made them just as gummies so we could taste test what the different flavors were.
Yeah.
So one day he had a bag here. I said, "Oh, where are those gummies?" And he said, "Oh, they're in the back room in a white bag." I went back there. They had not marked it. I ate a 400 milligram thing. I bit half of it. I tasted the THC. I'm like, uh-oh, this is not something I want to eat all of. So I spit it out, went and got my massage. After my massage, I was rocked. I tried to roll over. My head was whoosh, 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 whoosh. Tried to get up and walk. I ended up getting to my car, laying down the back seat for 4 hours, passed out because it just hit me so hard. So even experienced people can have issues. Now I knew what was happening. I didn't freak out. I knew, okay, I'm just going to crash. And so I just did that. But yeah, it was pretty heavy. Then I went home. Wife came, picked me up, went home, slept for 12 hours straight, woke up the next day with absolutely no pain in my body because of the high dose of THC, and it lasted like that for a couple of days. But so you can't watch out. So that's part of the other thing with the 210 when you can't wait to 420. Is we want, there you go. Yeah, we got those.
I also got the 210 link in here. So hold on, I'm going to put that up there too. So if anybody wants to get one of these, here it is. This is where you can get this. Make sure I can get this to work right. Okay. And go over here. And let's see if this worked. Paste. Hey, it did. There we go. So they're $49.99 a watch, are they? Yeah, there you go. So $50.
And those proceeds go towards us throwing parties and events and sponsoring things in the cannabis industry under 210. So what we're hoping is, 420, even though we've loved it, we've supported it, it's kind of got a little vanilla once things have gotten legal. It's not the same as it was where we were underground. We're hoping 210 elicits that kind of response again to some of the new users that weren't able to experience the, anxiety of smoking a joint when it was illegal and stuff, right? So 210 is kind of for the legacy people that want to talk about cannabis and not have people know about it, because everyone knows 420 now, but only people in the industry know about 210. So you can still use that number in front of people or as you're talking, and the legacy people can take advantage of that, whereby, because they're still not totally legal, but they're still working in that realm. So that is also for them. And if Colorado can have 710 and they created that and it's a thing, no reason why Canada can't have our own time that signifies us being the leaders in cannabis worldwide.
Yeah, well, at least at 420, you might not be at work. 210, you would have to be on a break.
Well, and that's true. And the thing is that we would always have that break, because at 210, 2 o'clock is around when the body needs a reboot.
Yeah,
and so that again, 210 falls in line with that, give me another kick in the pants to finish out the rest of the day. Now that's obviously as long as your employers are okay with it and things like that. Yeah. But the thing is, if you're out there having a little toke and you sneak back in, 210 is the perfect time to reboot you for the rest of the day.
Hit your distillate pens, go in there smelling like blueberry or strawberry.
Exactly.
You don't even know, right?
Exactly.
Scott Cleary says it's true, and mushrooms do help with migraines. I have a rare migraine condition that I inherited and that I can only treat with magic mushrooms. Well, there
Nice.
you go.
There we go.
I thought 710 was for dabs, Wendy said.
It is. It's oil backwards.
Yeah, it's oil backwards. It is too, isn't it?
That's what it is. And that's how they coined it, is they wanted some of, recognition, and they came up with that. So if they can do it and have 2 times, what stops Canada from celebrating at our own time? Now we've got 3 times, 210,
Elbows
420,
up,
and
people.
710. Elbows up.
Elbows up, baby.
Elbows up. That's right. Everyone support
210.
Canada. So if Trump ever comes in and takes over our country, he still won't be able to take over 210.
Well, thank you very much, sir. We have definitely gone over the hour. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we
All
don't.
right.
We just never know how it's going, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah.
yeah, thank you very much, sir, for being on the show. We will talk to you soon.
Sounds
I
good.
hope to see you tomorrow.
Right on.
Is there anything that you want to say with last words or anything like that?
Well, just any cannabis users, it is something that has helped many, many people over the years, recreationally and medically. And, just stay solid on our culture and, enjoy 210.
Yes, and cannabis does save lives.
Yes, it does.
Thank you, Terry. Have a great
Thank
day.
you, Glenn. All right.
Take
Talk to
care.
you soon. All right. Bye, everybody.
Cheers. All right. Okay, so we definitely went over an hour, so we'll just do this quickly. I want to say thank you very much to all the people who donate to the cannabis substitution programs, East Coast, Surrey, Newton, not New West, Langley, Mission, and with the Langley people, we still haven't had an update on their program, but the pilot program is going to be going ahead. So as soon as I get some information on that, we will definitely bring that out. So it's after 5 o'clock. I'm just going to wrap it up and say we have a lady from Iceland next week. Her name is Thor's something. But stay tuned, and we will definitely be giving away a 210 watch next week. So you want to come back and watch us next week also. Just want to say thank you very much to everybody. Just everybody that donates and watches and shares this thing. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much to Cannabis Culture and Rumble. And like I always say, go out and do something nice for someone today. They might just do something nice for someone else, and we'll have a much better world to live in. And as Neil Magnuson said, oh, you know what? Neil Magnuson. Yeah, there we forgot. We got to do, well, okay. We're a little bit over. Neil Magnuson always says, have as much fun as you can changing the world. We usually do his memorial video. Let's just do that next week. Also, I want to mention at the 300th episode in the studios, where the show is going to go from 4 till 5. But if you want to come down and celebrate with us, let's meet in the lounge. That's right there. It'll be either high score or upstairs from 5 till 6 o'clock. So if you guys want to come down to the Cannabis Culture Lounge, the address is on the ticker tape there. It'll be September the 2nd. You guys can come join us, and we'll smoke with you. All right. Have a great day, everybody. Take care. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sharing. And don't forget to give your loved ones a hug. Cheers.